How's it going, folks? It's Lobo and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we have episode 3 of Moon Knight. And if you're not already caught up with my series, you can find my previous reactions in the description in the form of a playlist for Moon Knight. You can find other specific related shows as well in the description if you're interested in that. But anyway, here we are with episode 3 and I'm very excited. I just had a sort of fumble with getting sick quite recently, so I'm watching this next episode about 3 or 4 days after I watched episode 2. So it's a little bit of a shorter week for me in between watching these episodes, but just some fresh thoughts I have going off of the previous episode, which I just quite recently watched. The character of Stephen Grant is without a doubt my favorite right now. I just kind of like him because he's not your typical hero. He doesn't really have the sense of anything heroic about him. He has a chaotic life and he's just trying to balance his own sort of sanity and decipher everything that is sort of just being laid out on top of him. And then here you have Mark Spector come in, and I'm still a little bit unsure with this whole story on him being dead and resurrected in someone else's body and all this sort of magical mysticism. But when it just comes to Mark's character, I kind of dislike him, and I'm sure that's going to change over the course of the show. But just right now, off of those 2 episodes, like him just butting in and stealing someone else's body and kind of being a dick about it and somewhat annoying that he's just hopping in and making Steven's life utter chaos. I'm like, yo, this guy's kind of a douchebag. So not overly fond on Mark Spector's character, but as I mentioned, I feel like that's going to change throughout the course of the show. Maybe this episode 3, will change, but I don't know. We're going to have to wait and find out. Fake passport.
The man indulged you. You think his dig sites were any place for a child?
We found Ahmed.
Now you got to dig down.
She's here.
Oh shit. You killed him? I needed to talk to that guy. Oh wow. Oh. What are we dancing? We fighting? What are we gonna do?
They slapped him. Well, he's not killing them. That's been such a running joke for so long. When the enemy taunts you, just strike them.
Don't do it, Mark. Stop it. Stop.
Is Steven back? Nope.
That wasn't me! Let me talk to you for a second.
What do you mean that's not you? It's still Mark, right? He's talking in an American accent. Yeah, no way Steven could do that shit. That's still Mark.
Mark, that's enough. Steven, what did you do? I swear it wasn't me. Then who was it?
What? It wasn't either of them? Bro, what is going on? Don't tell me there's a third personality.
Praise Ahmed.
Damn. That's devotion.
Listen, if you've got a problem with the body count, I suggest you stop listening to that stupid pigeon.
Stay out of my way.
Is to risk their wrath.
What? Well, what's the worst that could happen?
Anger them enough, and they'll imprison me in stone.
What are you doing?
Sending the gods a signal they can't ignore.
Ah, that's sick. When that light hits the sky, it's not just a call.
You're getting desperate, old bird.
Keep digging! No matter what happens! Oh my days, we're inside. We're inside the Great Pyramid of Giza.
Star of Hathor,
Okay,
goddess of music and love.
cool.
Surely Khonshu mentioned her.
Is there something I should know?
I try not to fight it. It's a strange sensation, but you'll get used to it.
Great.
Once for nearly exposing us, Khonshu. And you know we despise your garishness, your showy masks and weapons.
It's kind of weird.
Manipulate the sky again.
I was banished for not abandoning humanity unlike the rest of you. Of the Overlord before you lose this realm.
For the last time, Khonshu.
This is definitely a cheaper way than designing models for all the gods.
Let us summon the accused.
They can just summon him like that?
You know exactly why we are here. I must admit, I do not miss the sound of that voice. His vision is obscured by jealousy, paranoia, and he is a deceiver! Do not trust the word of it. The name Mark Spector. Liar! Employment records under the name Stephen Grant. I've seen him speak to himself. Shut up! He must possess. The man is clearly insane. This is about how dangerous he is, if you would just listen for a second.
He has committed no offense. This matter is concluded.
You could hear the glass in his shoes still. I love how they're finally giving in to the idea of making gods in the MCU, but it makes me sad that they ripped off Thor by just making him an alien rather than being like comic Thor.
Right guy, right place, but you're not Egyptian.
Hey, look, what the hell are you doing here? You should be here.
Yeah. That's not really what I do, is it?
Doesn't mean that we shouldn't have.
Yeah. Maybe. A little too late for that.
Or is men keeping tabs?
Could be.
They're not doing it very stealthily. They're like ducking, like they can't see us.
It's been a while.
Good to see you. Right this way.
Thank you.
Layla, come in. Such a delight to see you.
I think I just would love to take a look.
There's no location indicated.
Because the information has to be unlocked. It's coded.
Okay,
Steven knows his shit, man.
give me a minute. All right, Steven. You want to talk to me? Talk to me. What now?
What now? What now is you give me the body and you piss off.
Damn it, there's not time for this.
He's praying.
Sorry, if you expect my help, it's not going to be while I'm in. Put it all together, it should make a start.
Hey, what are you doing?
Oh shit.
Don't!
When you can have the treasure.
Anton, don't listen to this man. He's trying to stop us from reaching.
Please, stop.
He's gonna kill millions, trust me!
Prevent the wounds from your father's murder from reopening. But something stands in your way. Your husband doesn't tell you the truth. In Hatam, to Acht, Hebra! Of the godly power I offer. Where is he?
It's such a sick visual. He sent the bullets flying back? Damn. Oh, we're gonna get some Mr. Knight? Yes. Steven's back, let's go.
All right, time out. That's it, time out. Guys, let's all calm down.
Take the body. Take the body, Mark.
Jesus, man.
What was Harold talking about?
What do you mean?
He said I had a right to know.
Did he kill her father?
Right through me.
I don't know. He's just trying to mess with you, you know? He's trying to get in your mind.
It's like I've not known you at all.
Yeah. You haven't. You don't? I'm not getting any whole constellations. It's just little pieces and fragments.
Mark, we need Stephen. Mark, we can't wait. It's okay, just let go. I don't have time.
All right, go ahead, you're in. Cheers, thanks a lot. All right.
Damn, Oscar Isaac does a smooth transition.
It's French.
She definitely likes Steven, but it's like her husband's face. It's weird.
Not working.
Yeah, you see, Senfu marked that tomb like 2,000 years ago, and stars drift over time. Not much as far as stars go.
I remember that night. I remember every night. I can turn back the night sky.
How?
It will come at a cost, and I cannot do it alone.
Whoa, dude, that's sick. It's like funny, but cool at the same time. Man, the Moon Knight theme music, though, that shit hits hard. Music is severely underrated in this. Not enough people are talking about it.
Stephen! Mark! Come on! Where are you? Mark!
Now, he's tethered to this place, like many before him.
Can I tell you a secret?
I enjoyed dealing out pain on your behalf. I'm going to do what you could not. Your torment forced me. I owe my victory to you.
All right, well, I'm going to keep this discussion a little bit short because, to be honest, I feel like most of the information there just kind of went boop. So I really think I'm going to have to rewatch this just to understand sort of the magnitude of it. So just going over briefly, it's what I'm confused by. I feel like they did touch up on this, but as I mentioned, it just completely went through me and I didn't really process it. But the whole idea of the relationship between Mark and Layla, yes, I know they're husband and wife, but judging them by the way they act and also just like how they do so physically, especially Layla, to where she was shooting people, easily vaulting over the fence and fighting and having sort of look like a necklace sort of chest plate type that was very cultural, but she used it as a weapon to defend herself. So I don't know if they touched up on it. If they did, I'm sorry. I don't know why, but I completely sort of blanked. Not that I blanked during this episode, but some of the information didn't quite stick with me. So going off of that, it's pretty plain and pretty clear that she has some sort of heavy, extensive background involving training. Like, I don't want to jump the gun, but the safest bet would be either military or mercenary work or something along the lines of that. And I can see the same thing going for Mark, sort of military or maybe mercenary background or just like something involving guns and combat, because they have both had training. It's apparent. And I would imagine that's where they both met each other and sort of having discussions about her father and how she's feeling a bit vengeful, and there's something to do with his death. And then Arthur was saying that Mark might know something about that. I'm like, did he kill her father as like sort of maybe her father did something bad and Khonshu's like, oh, kill him, act out on my justice, something along the lines of that. So he had no choice, but she's still going to blame him, so he kept it secret, maybe something like that, or I'm just reading too much in it. But this whole thing between them, and I just feel like I just want a little bit more explanation. I probably literally disregarded. I feel like in the first conversation she had with what I assume still to be her mother, when she was making her the fake passport in the beginning, they were talking about her father, how she missed him, and how he was an archaeologist. So I'm so curious about that. But then it's also, this episode was a little bit more extravagant than what I'm used to, just, well, in terms of Moon Knight, because this one had some other gods and their avatars, which I didn't know happened. Because really, there's only been one avatar. Yes, Arthur may be doing stuff for Ammit, but she's dead apparently, and he's trying to resurrect her. Like, he's not her avatar. He just has a cane imbued with her power, and Khonshu is the only one who has a direct avatar, but I guess the other gods do as well. And as I mentioned, it's kind of like, rather than them making a model and a design for all the gods, which would have took a lot of work, a lot of CG, they're just like, avatars all around. I mean, it works, but it's just funny because there was that one dude with sort of like the scraggly short beard, and I forget, he was supposed to be like some powerful god. I'm like, and he's this dude. It's kind of funny, but it reminds me of well, no, not really. I mean, you could say the what the hell is it called? Wrath of the Titans, like the one with Sam Worthington. Well, all of them. It was just like when you have the Greek gods, and it's just humans in shiny armor, not anything elaborate. Like, I know it's kind of weird to go to this, but like God of War, the way they paint gods as being sort of taking the form of how they really look, like their environments, their powers. It's just like sick designs in God of War. But anytime I see a movie that involves gods and they're just people, I know the whole idea of sort of creating humans in their own image, but I just like a little bit when you're going to go sort of like mythological, fantastical, lean into power and mysticism. I want it to really reflect that and not just remind me of another human. So again, I know their avatars, but that whole scene was somewhat funny to me, but it was still cool. But then it just makes me wonder, like, how are they so oblivious? Like, is it completely out of the realm of possibility for the other gods to believe that Ammit is trying to be resurrected by her cult? Like, they're just like, no, that's not a possibility. You have no evidence of that. This man says he isn't doing it, therefore we 100% believe him. Like, how do the gods not know what is going on unless they're in on it? Like, I don't understand that. Like, is that a flaw within them? Or is that just like, I don't know. I don't get that. I don't understand how they don't know, or they're just so ignorant to the idea that Ammit might be coming once more, and Arthur is sort of the architect of that. Even though, yes, they might not have any direct physical evidence, and it's just someone's word against another, but it's like, really, man? I don't know. And the same thing, like, I know Khonshu got in trouble before because he's a little bit defiant or whatever, but you have the word of a dude versus the word of a fellow god. And yes, you might not trust the god Khonshu, but he still has somewhat good intentions from what we've seen, and I'm sure the other gods know that. He enacts out on his justice only after the evil deed is done, so it's still justice in his own sort of self-righteous way of divine true justice, kind of like Azrael, with sort of like the belief of taking a life just to prevent evil from further spreading. So that whole thing I'm a little bit confused by. And again, just the same thing with Steven and Mark. I just don't understand, because Layla says Mark has been keeping so many secrets from him. And I'm wondering how much she knows about the suit, but she didn't really directly say like Khonshu and you're an avatar. So I don't know if she like fully understands the concept of what Mark is. But then with Steven, that's not the only secret Mark hasn't told her about. But then I'm wondering, of course, Mark had to have always known about Steven, but it wasn't until recently that Steven knew about Mark. But it's just like, it's still confusing to me, because I'm like, how did Mark live in someone else's body for so long, and then Steven never knew he was living months across the Atlantic Ocean in America with this other woman who's actually his wife, in a different sort of psychology and personality? It's very trippy and sort of mind-bending, because I'm like, how do you not notice that? How do you disappear for that many months and nobody talks about it? You have a job. Nobody's like, hey, where the hell have you been, Steven? You know, I've been in America for however many months. I know he doesn't know, but some people had to have noticed him. And then my theory from the first episode that his mom wasn't really there, that he was talking to no one on the phone. But then maybe there's possibly a third personality because someone was killing them and Steven said, cut it out, Mark. And then Mark told Steven to stop it. So I think there might be someone else. Like, it's just like, what the hell is going on? It's a lot of questions. I would love a lot of answers. This was episode 3. And from the early sort of screenings that other reactors, like the big reactors and like reviewers and all sort of like the comic booky people that are high in media that they get to watch shit early, non-spoiler things I've heard is episode 4 is supposed to be like, boom, this shit is crazy. I heard episode 4 is supposed to be like the best episode, the biggest boom, knowledge bomb drop the mic moment. Like, so I'm like, yo, something big is going to happen. Probably we're going to have a little bit more exploration of what's actually going on. Perhaps it has something to do with their minds, their personalities, that potential third personality. I don't know. Something huge is going to happen, and I'm very excited for it. And again, it's just mentioning Arthur Harrow. It's funny because you have the avatars of other gods, and yet the most intimidating one, like in presence, is him, even though he's just a man with a cane. Versus like literal avatars for gods, and he still like commands the most. Like, oh damn, this guy's scary, even though he believes he's doing something good. Like, I still believe he's going to be deceived, very much like Shang-Chi, to where he's being led astray to one belief when it's really in actuality something different. Like Ammit is promising, oh, I'm gonna eradicate the world of evil before any of the deed is done, but is it based on actual fact? Like, yes, these people are 100% going to commit an evil deed or do something wrong, therefore they deserve death? Or is it, no, here's a slim chance that they might, so therefore they must die, and therefore your sort of philosophy falls in on itself because it's not something that has factual evidence, it's rather just like a hunch. So I feel like something along the lines of that is going to occur, to where he's just blinded by his own desire. And as we can see, he had history. It's kind of funny that he was the avatar for Khonshu before. So Ethan Hawke's character, Arthur Harrow, donned the Moon Knight suit like that. Like, thinking of that in my mind, I'm like, that's so weird. That's such a weird concept that other people wore the suit. It's kind of bizarre to me. But yeah, it's funny. And a lot of his pain, I guess he didn't take pleasure. Well, he said he took pleasure in it, but that sort of idea and that act that he carried out for Khonshu sort of forged him into the man he is today, to where he's seeking out someone else, which is Ammit. So very interesting, very complex. I love sort of the duality. So far, I really like his character a lot. Just Arthur Harrow as being sort of like the cult leader and walking with his glass and his sandals and has the cane. And he's just somewhat about it, especially in the previous episode. It feels like you can trust the guy and that he has good intentions, but it's just like something sinister about it. So I love that sort of blend, to where you're like, ooh, this is so sort of like, not seductive, but it's just very alluring in a way because of what he promises, but then there's such a dark price to it. So I love how they incorporate that, and they go hand in hand to the point where you're like, yeah, you can somewhat get behind his beliefs. It's somewhat like Thanos, like proposing that there might be a greater good or whatnot. But the means that justify the end ultimately are not good. They are sort of evil. So you have to completely abolish it. So I love that it's more like complex rather than just your basic generic villain that's like, I'm going to dominate the world. I want a lot of money. So I love that he's different, and he's, again, just has like a different story. So I really appreciate that. I really like his character. And again, just Steven's character, he's my favorite. Mark is a bit more tolerable, but I don't love him. Like, if he died, if like you could separate their personalities for a brief moment and Mark died, I wouldn't really care. But Steven's my man, so I would feel bad because I love Steven, because he's not your typical hero. He's just like a real regular guy, and he doesn't want to kill. Like, I love his story and how he's just like, oh my god, this is all crazy, and he's just trying to navigate his way through it. But then he's also really smart. Like, he worked in a museum. He was the gift shop worker, and he wants a promotion because he actually knows his stuff. Wanted to be sort of the tour guide and helped Layla. And she somewhat likes him, but it's like not hard for her because it's her husband's body and face, just like a different personality. And I almost wish that they can somewhat blend their personalities together and just be like one complete person. So it's like, damn, Mark is so dreary and so down and serious all the time. But if he fuses with Steven's personality, then half of him will be sort of lighthearted and comedic, and that'll be like a perfect blend, perfect balance. Or maybe it is kind of looking at it as like the soul, like the innocent and the darker one, and the two sort of yin yang, I guess, and they meet in the middle, maybe. I don't know. There's symbolism there, I guess. But yeah, I think I'm gonna rewatch this, or just after I watch every episode of like any series, I always watch it. Well, I only really watch like 2 or 3 other reactors, but I watch my other favorite reactors watch it, and that it just like helps me understand it a bit more when you hear other people's insight. But that's what I'm gonna do. I'm definitely gonna check out this episode again at some point. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I think this episode is going to be out on a Saturday, but 100% whenever you see it, there will be a new reaction to Daredevil that I have done. So if this episode's out on a Saturday, then tomorrow on a Sunday, you can find my Daredevil reaction. So yeah, or if this episode's out on a Monday or a Sunday or whenever this is out, there will be a new Daredevil reaction as well as the Boys reaction. And we'll talk about the X-Men reaction some other time, because I am 100% going to watch all of them up to Logan before I watch Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness. In the Multiverse of Madness, I don't know the correct title, unfortunately. That's crazy how I don't know that. But I'm definitely going to watch that. So if you're interested in my X-Men reactions, you can find the first 2 in my movies playlist, but the new ones you will find just randomly throughout the month, because I'm going to have to do it in a very unorthodox way to where when I finish them, I'm just going to put them out. So like I said, hope you guys enjoyed. I'm getting the hiccups. And until then, I'll catch you folks in the next video.